Hello once again, and welcome back to the Bistfluencer Pixelanet podcast channel. I am Mr. Black and White, and today we are going to know something about a very important aspect of our personality drive, that is classical conditioning theory. Have you ever wondered how certain things automatically trigger specific responses in you? Like how the sound of a dentist's drill makes you tense, or the smell of your favorite food makes your mouth water. This is where classical conditioning comes in. To begin with the basics, classical conditioning is a type of learning where a neutral stimulus begins to associate with a meaningful stimulus. Over time, the neutral stimulus alone can elicit a response. So let us break it down with four key elements, that is, unconditioned stimulus, secondly, unconditioned response, neutral stimulus, and conditioned stimulus, to conclude with conditioned response. Now, the unconditioned stimulus, this is something that naturally triggers a response. For instance, food is an unconditioned stimulus for salivation. Now, coming to the unconditioned response, this is the natural response to the unconditioned stimulus. Salivating in response to food is an unconditioned response. Neutral stimulus, this is something that initially doesn't trigger a response. It could be a sound, a light, or any other stimulus. Conditioned stimulus, this is the neutral stimulus after it has been associated with the unconditioned stimulus. Once conditioned, it triggers a response on its own. Conditioned response, this is the learned response to the conditioned stimulus. It's similar to the unconditioned response but triggered by a different stimulus. Now, a Russian scientist called Pavlov, Ivan Pavlov, a Russian scientist, famously demonstrated this experiment with classical conditioning by using dogs. He rang a bell, which is a neutral stimulus, before giving dogs food, that is unconditioned stimulus. The dogs naturally salivated, that is unconditioned response, with respect to the food. After repeating this process, the dogs started salivating, that is conditioned response, at the sound of the bell alone, that is conditioned stimulus. Now, compared to the Ivan Pavlov's famous experiment, let us consider some real-world examples. Classical conditioning happens all around us. Fear of heights, love of certain songs, or even brand preferences can be influenced by this type of learning. Advertisers often use classical conditioning by pairing their products with positive emotions or images. To conclude, classical conditioning is a fundamental learning process that shapes our behaviors and responses. Understanding it can help us to better understand ourselves and the world around us. Would you like to explore some specific insights about classical conditioning? Stay tuned to the Bistfluencer Pixelanet podcast channel. Until then, bye bye.